Hi guys, this is the Black Ops 6 Zombies Characters and Story Intel drop, which has just released, featuring a bunch of the story team. And the first person we see on screen is Craig Houston, who we haven't seen for a minute. So Craig, I just want to extend a personal little message to say, I hope you're doing well. I hope life is going okay and things are good. Very excited to play your game that you've been working on all this time. So without further ado, let's get into it. But yeah, just wanted to say hi to him.
We're all very proud and excited about this game, and
I'm sure.
We can't wait to see fans get their hands on it.
Yep. Intel drops.
The end of Cold War, our
Okay, Kevin Drew, good to see you back here talking about the story.
heroes kind of saved the day. We had contained the Dark Ether.
Rick Tuffin,
Oh, Dan, good to see you, Dan. That's nice to see a fresh face in one of the story and Intel drops.
imprisoned them somewhere. Fast forward 6 years, and our crew have been in the deepest, darkest hole that the director could find to conceal them from the rest of the world. And
Yeah, honestly, so valid. I think that certainly with sort of like Western brain, right, like British brain, if I'm thinking of like somewhere as far away and as out of the way as possible to put, like, let's say I'm Richtofen, right, to put these pesky operatives that I don't know what to do with, I think burying them in a underground prison on an island in the Philippine Sea is probably what I would choose as well. So yeah, I hear you.
we will be breaking them out and discovering the state of the world.
Hell yeah.
All of the characters have gone under quite a bit of a change. Prison changes people, that's kind of inevitable.
Our crew for zombies this game is Weaver, Dr. Gray, Carver, and Maya. The first three were our handlers in Cold War.
You got Weaver, who's this grizzled...
Good to see Tony back as well. Tony, Senior Writer 2, I guess Dan, Senior Writer 1. And Tony has appeared in some previous Intel drops. He's done a bunch of stuff over the years, so good to see him back here as well.
Used to be a CIA spy, spec ops soldier.
He's been through a lot since the events of Cold War.
Another, I think, new face, Senior Writer 1. So maybe they've got Senior Writer 1, 2, and 3. Maybe Dan wasn't Senior Writer, maybe he was... Hold on, I'm actually really curious about this.
Quite a bit of a change.
Saved the day. We had contained the Dark Ether.
Okay.
Rick Tuffin in prison.
Senior Lead Writer. Okay. I'm always curious how they kind of denominate these things.
Backup soldier.
Well,
he's been through a lot
Rachel,
since the events of Cold War.
meet
I
you,
think
see
it's
you.
hit him harder than most because he failed his team and he's had 6 years to have that guilt amass. Gray has undergone a transformation.
She's physically toughened up a lot compared to the kind of lab geek that she was, and that's going to be very important now that she's boots on ground.
46.
Carver is the hardcore military guy.
He's been stripped of his rank.
He's been stripped. Also, what a pause. I will say, I am looking forward to Gray not being as kind of like kooky, silly scientist as she was in Cold War. Like, it felt like she was a little bit of a, for lack of a better word, no offense to her, but like a little bit of a klutz kind of thing. I'm looking forward to her being very incisive. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And just really to the point, direct, like military brain engaged. She's got a job to do, and that one job is to kill Richtofen. Like, that's going to be fun to see that side of her, because we haven't really seen that in a big way just yet. I also think that we're probably going to see that kind of jump out of her a bit more because of what's happened with Samantha. Like, I think that Gray has a chip on her shoulder now, which she didn't have previously, and I suspect that's going to be a big motivator for why she's gone through the changes that she's gone through in Terminus. Like, granted, prison changes people, like we've heard that point, but I reckon that there's sort of a double whammy going on with Gray specifically in regards to Samantha as well.
Trying to find his place could be something that he could possibly struggle with.
You're supposed to be dead.
Maya is a new character that we're adding.
She's coming into this story desperately trying to find her brother.
Yeah, so we've heard a few mentions that she's looking for her brother. Peck's promised that they're not going to leave without her brother as well.
She's had to make an unlikely ally in the form of Peck.
This is Maya. She's with me.
Dr. Peck was a villain from the previous game, so they are not happy to see him.
That kind of adds suspicion to Maya's character in everyone's eyes. Like, why are you hanging out with this guy? He's part of the reason we're here. You can't trust him.
But they quickly realize that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they all are aligned on wanting to hunt down
Yeah, this wall, I mean, this is so it's so Shang, weirdly. Let's actually just skip this back just 2 seconds here, just to take another glance at the wall. Like, it just looks so good, man. I love obviously all the tallies. Like, does this say Harry? Or does it say something else? It looks like HARR something. I'm not sure exactly what that says. And then that says what? Visceraphus Mortem? Something like that? And there's this little star thing looking thing. And you have no dreams in between seconds or something? Can't really read it, but I just love what they're sort of building here. I think it's great world building.
Hunt down Richtofen and getting revenge.
All of us here have a common enemy. The guy who locked you up.
We're going to be having hero character interactions, so they're going to be speaking to each other.
All those years behind the bars. Feels good to get hands-on again.
Oh my god. I think my eyes just rolled down to the back of my head when I heard a character quote in Zombies. That's just a nice thing to hear, man. After so long of throwing a grenade and stuff like that, to actually hear a comment specific to the play space, we really took it for granted for all those years, but it's so good to have that return. Like, that is going to mean so much for the way they can tell the story, the way that the narrative unfolds. Just happy days, truly happy days.
Pace yourself, Carver. I think we're just getting started.
That's only going to be happening when they play the dedicated crew.
They interact with each other. You get a lot more information about how their relationships sort of change.
Look alive, Gray.
And you can still play as any other operator, but if you choose to play as these hero characters, you're just going to get a richer experience because there's just more narrative content. To put the players actually into the characters that are living the story, it brings back that tightness that I think fans loved.
I mean, 100%. We were all over it, right? And I think that it's going to be the inter-character interactions that really just sell this in a big way. Like, it's not just a character being like, man, I'm feeling hungry. It's a character being like, I'm feeling hungry, and then someone else being like, shut up, Nikolai, you're always hungry. Like, it's those moments. There's so much comedy that's potential there. There's potential for there. There's also so much room for emotional exploration, where if it's just a solo character just saying a line on their own, like, how much are you going to sort of expose yourself just in a monologue? Probably not as much as if someone is asking kind of probing questions, right? So I'm excited for that. I only hope that the story team have really very carefully ensured that not all of the quotes are just sort of fluff. Like, we've seen so much fluff in Cold War. We've seen so much fluff in Modern Warfare Zombies. I want those quotes to really actually feel meaningful. And, like, I think, honestly, a good barometer for this, as crazy as this sounds, is if I am able to make a couple of videos at launch about individual quotes, that is a sign things are going in the right direction. If I can't do that, that means that the quotes aren't interesting. Straight up. Like, I can be a good little litmus test there. And so if those videos can be made and those quotes are juicy enough to sort of support that content, then I think that also will sort of tangentially mean that people on forums will be able to be having big discussions about those same quotes. People that are playing the game just on their couch will sort of have ideas churning in the back of their mind about those quotes. Like, they'll be provocative in a big way. So I'm really hopeful and crossing my fingers for that as a sort of an element of how they approach the story this year, both in quotes and in, like, intel and everything.
And are going to really welcome back this time around.
The teams have been working so hard, and we're really excited for everyone to experience the characters and the story in Black Ops 6.
Same. Gameplay at Call of Duty next. Okay. There we go. Well, that's the intel drop. Drop a like if you enjoyed.